What if I told you that two of the most entertaining and controversial figures in all of combat sports are going to be fighting each other in the main event of a new promotion? Well, that's exactly what's happening. Tony Ferguson versus Dillon Danis for the Global Fight League's debut event. They're doing back-to-back nights. This is the main event of the Sunday card. Tony Ferguson versus Dillon Danis is official. This is really happening. Dillon Danis to 155. The KSI fight he had is off. He's fighting Tony. Let's go, okay? In this video, we're going to be talking about the GFL announcement as a whole because they did announce a slew of fights, including a total of 42 former UFC fighters. The Grandpa Fight League moniker is definitely holding up to this point. But we're going to talk about the GFL card coming up on May 24th and 25th, back-to-back nights. Something kind of original from GFL, back-to-back events. I know that other promotions have done it, but if this is their model going forward, it could be very interesting. So stick around to hear my thoughts. I'm Wyatt. This is Fight Society. All right, it's really happening. The GFL, the Global Fight League, the team MMA promotion that is supposed to be the new challenger to the UFC, it's really coming together. As you can see right here above me, GFL fans, 31 fights, 2 nights, 6 teams, 1 global stage. The inaugural GFL season launches in Los Angeles with a 2-day team versus team mega event at the iconic Shrine Auditorium. This is not that far from my house. Dead ass, I'm going to go. Especially the tickets are probably only going to be like $10. Former champions and hungry prospects will compete in 31 bouts with talent from all 6 GFL teams: Los Angeles, New York, London, Sao Paulo, Dubai, and Miami. Saturday's card includes legends of the sport Showtime Pettis and Benson Henderson in the Ultimate Rubber match, Holm, Urijah Faber, Chad Mendes, Sage Northcutt. Sunday is just as stacked, featuring Paige Van Zant, Uriah Hall, Alexander Gustafsson, and then some, headlining our inaugural card, a marquee matchup between fan favorites Tony Ferguson and Dillon Danis that sets the stage for our second event in June in New York. Tony Ferguson versus Dillon Danis is the main event of the Sunday card in Los Angeles, so I'm definitely going to be going. So on the first night, you have Urijah Faber, Renan Barão, Chad Mendes, Mike Lanharis, Anthony Pettis and Benson Henderson, Holm, Julia Budd, Marlon Moraes, Ray Borg, Alexa Connors, and Kat Zingano. And then the second night, which this is the one that I'm for sure going to go to with it being in LA. Tony Ferguson, Dillon Danis in the main event at lightweight, which Dillon Danis has never cut down to 155 before. His bout with KSI that got canceled was actually scheduled for 185. Uriah Hall, Douglas Lima co-main, Elima Lay McFarland versus Viviane Pereira at strawweight, Gustafsson OSP, Alan Belcher, Stuart Austin, Paige Van Zant, Randy Field, Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov, interesting, at lightweight, because he was at welterweight in the UFC against Louis Glissman. All right, exciting cards, but let's talk about this. I've been saying this since the GFL announced their inaugural event and since they announced their season a few months ago, is that Tony Ferguson, Dillon Danis is absolutely the biggest matchup that they can put together right now. They have a lot of big names, but there are a lot of older big names. You have Luke Rockhold, Chris Weidman. Sure, that'll draw eyes, but Dillon Danis versus Tony Ferguson is cinema. Like the trash talk leading up to this, they're both great jiu-jitsu competitors. Neither of them have a whole lot of punching power, if we're being honest. I mean, Tony definitely has some, but it has lessened over time. And then Dillon's got pillow hands, unfortunately. I'm not trying to talk shit. I like Dillon a lot, actually. I think he's super funny. And I think that somebody like him and his character is good as a part of the sport, because I guess the UFC doesn't want him. They say he's a problem, but if he's not going to be in the UFC, having someone that's such a big name that does draw a lot of social media eyes like Dillon Danis kind of floating out there for these up and coming promotions like GFL to sign is actually huge. Like this is a big time matchup for GFL. Now, I don't think that Tony's at a huge risk of getting KO'd here. If he does get KO'd by Dillon Danis, he should hang it up for sure. But this is an intriguing matchup. Great jiu-jitsu from both guys. Both of them have had some time off, and they have like the reinvigoration of like being kind of part of this new promotion. I think this is massive, and I think this could draw some eyes. Now, I still think that GFL is going to struggle long-term with this team MMA concept. I understand why they're doing it. They have to be different from the UFC, but this right here will get them a lot of talk when they start out. And we'll see what happens from there. Can they maybe get like a Logan Paul to fight for them at like light heavyweight or something like that? Because they're going to need to pile momentum on top of momentum to even stay afloat, much less compete with the UFC. So I'm going to pick Dillon Danis in this fight. I'm going to pick Dillon Danis by sub, actually. I just think that Tony's lost a step speed-wise and grappling-wise. You know, he got put to sleep by Bobby Green with that head and arm choke. It's just not looking good for Tony at this point, but I'm glad that he can get a check post-UFC. And obviously, this is a super intriguing matchup, and it's big business, or for the GFL, it's big business. Something that caught my eye is this exclusive advanced matchup, which I guess they're going to have like tiers to their matchups. Not sure how that'll work out. And I'm also a little bit confused as to how you're having all of these different teams on the same card, because you have Miami, Dubai, New York, London, LA, Sao Paulo, all that. And I thought the entire point of this thing was that the entire card was Team A versus Team B. And then you tally up points and there's a winner of the card, like a basketball game, like who scores the most points. But this seems vastly different. So we'll see, you know, how they work all this out. Maybe it's some sort of showcase. I don't know. Maybe this doesn't count towards their season. We'll see. But the tickets drop in April. I'll definitely be buying. And we'll have to see who their streaming partner is, because I don't know what kind of interest they're generating. If it's going to be like if they're going to be on Tubi or if they're going to be on Amazon. I have no idea what kind of streaming deal. Maybe they have their own app. I know that most of their funding is from Silicon Valley. So we will have to see. Pretty, you know, kind of surprised at some of these names coming back. Renan Barão's really old at this point. OSP is in his 40s. Uriah Hall's close. Gustafson's in his 40s. I mean, yeah, it's definitely an aging roster as a whole. And UFC, like people that couldn't cut it in the UFC, you know, like a Julia Budd, Paige Van Zandt, Abu Bakar Nurmagomedov, stuff like that. So we'll see where this goes. But for a promotion of this size, I'm excited for these cards, like especially the Tony and Dillon Danis. The fact that that is a main event that's going to happen close to me. Like I'm going to go. Like I wouldn't travel for it. Like I wouldn't travel the way that I traveled to UFC Seattle, but it's a half hour from my house. I'll go. So let me know your thoughts down below. Who wins between Tony Ferguson and Dillon Danis? And what are you guys thinking of these cards? All right. Like and subscribe. Did you like this video? Then like and subscribe down below. I also do multiple live streams per week, along with behind the scenes content and members only live streams for our channel members. So become a channel member for access to bonus content. It's only $5 per month and it greatly helps the channel's growth. I also do a podcast with my best friend Bo, and I have a non-MMA channel as well called Wyatt's World. You can check both of those out linked below.